Proverbs 2:2. להקשיב לחוכמה אוזניך, תטה ליבך לתבונה. So we're here in verse 2 now, and notice we start with the infinitive. So this is a hiphil infinitive construct. We have the lamed preposition here, and the verbal root is kof shin beit. So we've got a hiphil infinitive construct. Now, let me talk about the infinitive construct first. Actually, let's look at the syntax first. This is a little bit tricky. The question is, what do we do with oznecha, your ear? So what do we do with this? There's a few options, and if anybody wants to snag Andrew Steinman's commentary on Proverbs from the Concordia commentary series, he gives great textual commentary before the theological commentary, and he gives all three options for how this oznecha could be functioning with references to other reference grammars. And so if you want to look at that more, you can. So how is oznecha working here? So number one would be it's working as the object of what you are to pay attention to. So just let's get a quick translation here, and then I'll come back to the infinitive. Making your ear attentive to wisdom. So kashav would be to pay attention or to be attentive. So making your ear attentive, that would be the object or the accusative, something like that. Another way that you could see this would be to see oznecha as some sort of accusative. And so paying attention to wisdom, and then we would say something like with your ear or by your ear, namely the instrument by which you pay attention to wisdom. And the third option that Steinman gives here is that oznecha would be something like the subject. So it would be like your ear being attentive to wisdom. Okay, so there are some options there. I think the first one is probably the best one, making your ear attentive to wisdom or paying close attention to wisdom. Now, let's go back and talk about the infinitive construct here quickly. The infinitive construct, one of the functions of it is called an epexegetical infinitive or an explanatory infinitive. Explanatory. And these would be kind of the same thing. And I think that's how this infinitive is functioning here. So if we go back to verse 1, my son, if you receive my words and my commandments, you treasure up within you. And then this is going to be, well, okay, how do I do that? How do I receive and treasure? There's the explanation. By making your ear attentive to wisdom. So how do you treasure up understanding, and how do you treasure up your parents' words? It is by being attentive to them, to the wisdom that those words have. It's paying attention to them, paying close attention. So a great construction there. Some good detailed definitions here of how that oznecha may be functioning. It is a little bit clunky syntax, but it's poetry, and so that's totally expected here. And so again, I think making your ear attentive to wisdom would be the best way to see it, by making your ear attentive to wisdom. Next we get tate libecha la tevuna. And so this in parallel, you see wisdom and understanding here, parallel to one another. And so this would be stretch out your heart. Now the verbal root here is nata, and it is a hiphil. So we've got a hiphil. Notice the one noon will assimilate here, and we get the A-class preformative vowel giving us that hiphil. And so causing your heart to be stretched out toward understanding. And this would be a way of, not like you're going to take your heart and put it in your hand and extend it out, but rather that your heart is inclined toward understanding. And so don't be averse to understanding. Don't be averse or rebellious to get people giving input and insight into your life. And so you get a little bit of practical ways in verse 2 that this treasuring idea comes to fruition. How does that happen? By making your ear attentive to wisdom, paying attention to it, pay close attention to wisdom, and inclining your heart toward understanding, not being averse to it and not being rebellious against it. Rather, accepting it as the treasure that it is.